Well, Spiritforged is coming up fast, and what do you need to know about what the most powerful cards in this set is? Well, that's going to be what we are discussing, because knowing what the most powerful cards are could very well be helping you right as you start getting into Spiritforged. So what are those cards? Where do they rank? Well, let's go ahead and find out. So yeah, this is going to be a little bit different of a video, kind of a little bit like my tier list, and so all of that is going to be my own opinion. We're going to be starting, of course, with a couple of honorable mentions and then going into basically like a top list. Now, the big thing to keep in mind with this is I am not ranking the signature spells, because if I did, that would literally be like 10 through 3, essentially, you know, just with how powerful they already are. I love that Riot went in and decided to actually make the signature spells as powerful as they did, because it does make them that much more meta relevant, because we didn't necessarily see that in Origins, where there was a couple of cards where we're like, oh yeah, that's actually a good signature spell, I'll go ahead and play that. Otherwise, we're just kind of like, it's up in the air, you know, and that was kind of sad. This time, though, even something like, if maybe Rek'Sai might not be that tier 1 deck per se, it's still really interesting to consider, because, well, the signature spell is still definitely that tier 1 caliber, so that's awesome. Likewise, Draven, who is probably one of the best decks in this game, has a really powerful signature spell that adds 3 as an equipment and can be quick drawn, which means it can be attached at reaction speed. Really good, especially for 2 and a power. That's going to be a major swing that makes such a big difference. And then there's this guy. Let's be real, we're going to be talking about that towards the end of the video. Slight spoiler there. And it's going to be interesting. I mean, Spiritforged has really taken it up a notch, and I'm going to be curious, what do you guys think about my list compared to yours? So with that being said, first and foremost, we are going to be talking about the honorable mentions. First and foremost, it's going to be Rengar. Now, a lot of people aren't necessarily talking about that. But the biggest thing is, one thing that I love about Rengar is that it can be played at reaction speed when attacking into a battlefield. This is one that can really sneak up on your opponent, and rightfully so. They think that, oh, they're just dealing with one unit. You might have some equipment that you're going to attach. You might have like a fighter flight or something, and they're able to deal with that. And then, boom, there goes Rengar, and he's like, how's it going? I'm here for 5. That's scary. That's something that a lot of people don't really anticipate at all, and this is one that I specifically run in my Annie deck. It could also be one I side in 1 or 2, I think, in my Draven list as well, because again, it's just that little bit extra that can surprise your opponent. For example, when you are in the Draven mirror match, this guy can get the job done, because they'll fight or flight, or they'll recruit your they'll rebuke your main attack. And at reaction speed, you are able to respond with this guy and say, well, I'm still here to stay, what now? That's awesome. It's a great way to deal with a lot of that. And I think this guy's going to climb up in popularity as we continue to see this meta evolve. Next, of course, is going to be Ferocious Forerunner. Again, an honorable mention, because I do think there are more powerful cards out there. Still, with this card in particular, it is really good. The fact that you could get up to 12 might for 6 and a power is absolutely insane. Not only that, it can be really annoying to go around, because it's like, well, I'm going to destroy it. Cool, that's awesome. But then when I pass turn, I'm going to have 6 more might in the form of 2 units. And so you can just go boop and really attack and deal some devastating damage. The thing is, though, and the main reason why I stuck this as an honorable mention instead of in like the top 12 or 10, however many I did anyway, but not important, is because while it is incredibly powerful, I don't think it's going to necessarily see as much play as what we are going to be expecting with other cards in this list. It's still really good. It's going to get a lot of things done. It's going to be very difficult to try to deal with. But with all the removal and all of the fight and flights and avoiding of combats and avoiding of getting this thing killed, it's going to be a lot easier in that sense to deal with this threat. Now, of course, when you do destroy it, you still have to deal with the extra might, and that is a big difference maker, which why it is honorable mention number 2. Next, honorable mention number 3, really good, Wages of Pain. Now, of course, blue doesn't necessarily have a whole lot to really keep an eye on and be like, this is really good. But Wages of Pain is that exception. I really love this card, mainly due to the fact that it can be hidden. Also, even if not, at action speed, you can deal 3 to a unit on battlefield and still get a gold gear exhausted. So, okay, I'm perfectly fine with that. But not only that, if you do decide to hide it, it will replace itself in the power cost by the start of your next turn. So you basically gain back what you already pay for it, which is just so good. Not only that, when I play this card in my Victor deck, I play something like Honest Broker and put it into a battlefield, and they attack in with a 4 or 5 might unit thinking that they're safe, and I go Wages of Pain, and it's a trade, and I get a gold off of that. So they don't get to score a point. I've already scored a point from my battlefield, and I get a gold on top of that. So it's just a really good card for that, and I just gotta say, I really like it. For honorable mention number 3. Now, this is going to be probably the first one that I am going to rank, so probably at the top of the list. Bottom is going to be most powerful. I love Fiora. This is what really makes her meta relevant, because it allows you to just recycle a power after they become mighty, and then boom, I am able to accelerate my unit. So essentially for 1 power less, you are able to do so much. Now, the difficult part with this is if Fiora does get taken out, and there's a lot of ways for her to be able to in multiple colors, it can really slow you down, and the deck loses so much steam just by her falling off. That's also, though, why she is so... why she is even on this list is because she is that difference maker on what makes Fiora competitive. It's like, I'm going to keep swinging, and I'm going to keep coming at you, and I'm going to keep hitting you with big units. Awesome. Great. So what now? So again, that's going to be the biggest deciding factor, and one that I'm keeping an eye on because, man, this Fiora is awesome. Next is going to be Akshan. Now, this is going to be a really fun card. I love that it has Weapon Master. I also love that it also has one of the best abilities, especially in such a gear-heavy meta. Now, for 4, no power cost. That's awesome. But if you choose to use some power, you can pay 2 orange here as an additional cost. And when you do, you are able to move an enemy gear to your base. You control it until Akshan leaves the board, and you equip that if it is an equipment. You can equip it to Akshan. Really good. I've stolen some really important stuff. There's been a Guardian Angel, and it's like, yeah, that's mine now. And that's really devastated my opponent when he's been playing Irelia. I mean, and if there is anything else on the battlefield that you just really want, if there's an Ornn, if there's an equipment that's attached to Ornn that you really want, he gets it. And that's why I think that he is just one of the most powerful cards. In orange, you're very viable on even main decking him just because of how much gear is out there. What you are able to steal is very valuable. Heck, even if you do take a seal from Draven, it can be something to really slow him down because now the power cost has to be paid. You're not necessarily going to be able to use that seal, but stopping him from being able to do so is very helpful. So I gotta say, love this card, love what it's able to do. A 4 for 4, man, I love that. And the ability is next level 2. Now, Fizz. Ooh. He is going to be fun. And I really love what he is able to do. It does suck that he has a power cost, but otherwise, he would basically be a free unit out on the board because his ability is what makes him so dang good. When you play me, you may play a spell from your trash with energy cost no more than 3, ignoring its energy cost. Recycle that spell after you play it, and you need to still pay the energy cost. But this can be the difference maker in getting you that final answer you need to be able to win the game. This card sucks when it does start in your hand. That's not fun. But if he's not in your starting hand, if you draw him mid to late game, and you're like, I don't have a fight or flight. Oh, Fizz gets me a fight or flight, and he puts it back in my deck. I don't have a rebuke. Oh, Fizz grabs me a Rebuke in my trash that I've already used. Boom, I get to do that. Now, yes, it does suck that you sometimes have to recycle like that 3 power here in order to use the Rebuke, but if that's going to be getting you the points needed and getting a unit back to the base, why not? I love that. And so because of that, I really love that Fizz is here. He's going to be here to stay, and I think he's going to get ever more popular as we get later into this meta. Next, of course, is going to be Trinity Force. It's one of the big cards that makes Master Yi so formidable, or really any orange for that matter. Now, it is tough. I do think that this card is best in Master Yi, mainly due to the fact that you have Master Yi's legend ability of adding +2. This also adds +2, so you're essentially adding 4, and I'm perfectly fine paying 4 and recycling an orange to be able to equip that, because if you do that on a Poro at the beginning of the game, your opponent's like, how am I going to get over that? And unless they have things like Fight or Flight or anything like that, it's like, well, good luck. And so that's going to be one of the best aspects of playing Trinity Force, because all you need to do really is hold once or twice. And your opponent is racing against the clock because of that and trying to figure out what answers do I have to be able to deal with Trinity Force, because the last thing I want is for you to gain so much points because of this equipment. And then there's things that you get to do. There's ways that you're able to stop them from being even able to destroy this gear, which is what is going to be making this so incredibly scary. Next is going to be this one that I'm always going to say wrong no matter what, because it is just spelled weird and I can't sound it out. But man, this is a really good card. I mean, I've been talking about, I was building a Yasuo deck yesterday and I thought, I could use this. That would be really interesting in Yasuo. Now, it is a very expensive card for that matter, which is why it's a little bit higher up on the list. It's not going to be labeled in the top, but man, does this make Ornn... This is the big card that I think really makes Ornn meta-relevant. Otherwise, he would be kind of where Jinx is, in Origins at least, you know. But cards like this make Ornn very meta-competitive. Really good. And what really gives him so much extra might, and even 4 deflect at that point too, so really good. But even with like things like Yasuo or whatever else you want to attach this to, having the ability to then copy that unit's text to this equipment's effects, as long as it's attached to it, is really good. And so I gotta say, green kind of missed the mark in a lot of ways, unfortunately. Purple got the biggest buffs. Let's be real. Purple has the best cards, period. That's just how it is. This is close, though, and I really do like what this is able to do. And with that, I mean, I think this is going to be sending waves, especially as we get additional sets in this game. Green could become very scary, and it could all start with this amazing equipment. Next, of course, speaking of the equipment master himself, the Forge God Ornn. Now, this guy, first off, I gotta say, his Legend alt art, best Legend alt art in this game, period. Fight me on it. Not, well, at least for Spiritforged, let's be real. The best Spiritforged alt art. Love that one, whoever the artist was, and if you happen to be watching this, great freaking job. Can't wait to see that in person. After that, though, Ornn is just such a crazy ability. First off, deflect 2, so you have to recycle 2 runes just to even target him, which means things like Rebuke, you're going to have to recycle 4 essentially, and you're almost forcing your opponent to where it's like, well, either I win or I'm forcing you to recycle a lot just so you have even a chance to win. Okay, cool, that's fine. You know, kind of thing. On top of that, he has Weapon Master, and then he gets +1 for each friendly gear. Doesn't even have to be attached to him. If it is, all the better. If it's not, he still gets +1. And so you're getting buffs from equipment attached to him. It's adding +2, +3. But then on top of that, you get +1 just for it being in existence. Okay, cool. So, ton of versatility, really hard to deal with. A 6 for 4, yeah, that sucks, but it's looking really good because it's like, yeah, that's a lot of power. Next is going to be Punch First. Now, I do sometimes wish that this was going to be lower on the board. I mean, better in this sense. I love this card. It is such a powerful card. It can be that big difference maker on you holding the battlefield. The 2 power cost is also very strategic, where it sucks that you do have to pay the 2 power. But that means that it can't be defied. That means it can't be, it can be hard bargained still, but it can't be like, not much. And that's going to be to your advantage. It's worth the power cost. And honestly, I do like that it has a 2 power cost for 5. It's already replaced things like Primal Instinct that adds +7 because, well, Primal can be rebuked. Or defied. I mean, not rebuked, defied. And that's really sad because that can really set you back, sacrificing 4 runes and a power. Whereas this, it's like, well, what answers do you have? You have to utilize so many other things in this case, and a lot of times they're not going to be able to. And so it is just such a powerful card for that reason. Next is going to be Irelia. Ah, man. Now, she is just so good. I'm going to be curious to see where she's actually able to fit in other decks, but the reason why she's not necessarily higher up on this list is because she's really best in her own deck because she goes hand in hand with her legend ability. It does still help with things like Ride the Wind or things like that, sure. The Deflect is also really good. 5 might for 4, but she's going to be at 5 every time that she readies up anyway. That's awesome because her ability is, when you choose or ready me, give me +1 might. So if you do have things like Discipline, Unguards, anything like that, boom, she just gets +1 each time that you target her. Then you can use her legend ability to ready her up. So she can just go boop, 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 and just V. She's like a Darius on steroids, and rightfully so. So, I mean, just a very powerful combination there. And why you got to watch out because she can be the most mobile one in here, at least until we see the Stellacorn. But still, she can be very powerful and move so incredibly fast. Next is going to be Azir. Why is that, you think? Well, I really actually, after thinking about this, would probably move him higher up on the list. So he's amongst, I would even put like the punch first and stuff. So if I did redo this video, I would be putting him higher up. But still, I gotta say, I really love his ability, mainly because you recycle a green and it can be acted on action speed. So in showdowns, you can go ahead and choose a unit you control, and you move me to its location and it to my original location. And if it's equipped, you may attach one of its equipment to me, and you can only use this once per turn. But still, that's going to be really interesting because if there's a unit that you don't want to necessarily lose, you can switch. If you really want to surprise your opponent, you can switch and then also attach an equipment to this. So you could be like, oh, by the way, yeah, I'm at 8 now. You know, I'm going to take this equipment and go up to 8. Okay, cool. And especially with something like Ornn, it can be really crazy because they go into one battlefield where Azir is, you play at action speed, the Azir ability, you switch with Ornn, and Ornn goes over. Now, of course, yes, the reason why I am starting to think that this one actually should be higher up on the list is because it doesn't necessarily, it depends on your board state more than anything. But still, it can be something to really shift the tides into your favor and make it all the more difficult for your opponent to figure out the correct lines, which is why I love this card so much. Next is going to be Guardian Angel. Really good just because you are able to get +1, which is awesome. And then if I would die, kill Guardian Angel instead, heal me, exhaust me, and recall me. So really good there. It's just that little insurance to make sure that your units are able to survive. If there's one that you really want to protect, Guardian Angel is your thing. If there's gear destruction, yeah, odds are Guardian Angel is going to get targeted in that case. But still, it is such a powerful card and can be that wall that you need to be able to show your opponents, I'm here to stay. What are you going to do about it? And they need to have so many different answers to try to deal with this card. It's going to be powerful, and especially at a rare, it's going to be really fun to see what ends up coming of this. Now, this, if I remember correctly, is going to be the 3rd best card of the set on where I ranked this. So, what does that necessarily mean? Well, yeah, it's good. Now, the reason why I say that it's going to be number 3 is because it can be cheated out in so many different ways. It's kind of ridiculous. A lot of people, I saw Riftbound Meta, he even specifically called out on X saying that this card needs to be the first ban. And honestly, I kind of agree with him on it. I was going against Savage today on stream, and When I was playing Master Yi, for example, I'm sitting there with 30 cards in my deck and my opponent is down to 12. And a lot of it is because of Called Shot. Yes, you can still play the Ezreal and you discard 1 and draw 2. That's fine. But when you have an Ezreal out on the battlefield and then you're just like, okay, here we go. And Called Shot. Oh, by the way, the repeat is free because of Ezreal. Oh, I have, Seal. Okay, I'm just going to play for literally nothing and be able to draw 2 looking through 4 cards. Oh, I have Fizz coming back out. I'm going to Called Shot again, look at 4. Oh, wow, I found a stacked deck. I'm going to look at 3 more. And it's almost too fast and too strong of a card, and it all is because of Called Shot. It's even better than, the Fight or Flights, just because Ezreal and Seals are in this current game, especially Ezreal. Ezreal is the reason why this card is so broken. If you run this card, you're running Ezreal. If you run Ezreal, you're essentially running this card. And that's the problem of this meta that I think we are going into, is that Called Shot, it just makes purple way too powerful and gives you far too many answers. We already have scrap heaps. We have stack decks. We have so many other draw engines. We even have Ezreal on top of that. And now we're adding Called Shot. And it's like, whew, okay, well, let's see. Because at the beginning, everyone's like, it's really not that good. But man, when you run Ezreal, when you run Called Shot, it is just next level. And it is so hard to deal with. Now, I had a debate on where Stellacorn would be placed in this. The main reason why it is so high up is because of what it is able to do in Irelia. Otherwise, it's kind of mid. At least on this list, it's more mid. But when you play this card in Irelia, it is near that tier 0 because you are able to punish so hard with this. You play this card, you go Discipline, you recycle 1 with Irelia, Irelia Legend, ready her, move her into a battlefield, cool, draw a card, resolve that combat. All right, fine. Now I'm going to go and do a Ride the Wind. Move to the other. She readies up after Ride the Wind. Moves back to base. You've drawn 3 cards just right there. And you can do that turn after turn after turn. And just replacing yourself, you're going to be able to have 10 cards in hand and sitting pretty. And I mean, this is one of the biggest reasons why I think Irelia is going to be formidable in this next set, because of the mobility and the card draw. There is no penalty. There is no power cost. The one minor penalty is that it's at 3 might. But when you get an ability like that, it is just absolutely bonkers. Which is why I put Stellacorn up there. In Master Yi, it's still decent. It can get you a good answer. If you play this on turn 2, then move into a battlefield and you on the move, you draw a card. It could be an answer. It couldn't be, but even if it's not, you still can take the battlefield and you can just go back and forth and continue to get an extra card per turn. Still really good. But in Irelia, it's just at that next level. So, the number 1 card, you guessed it, it's Ezreal. Ezreal is the most powerful card in this deck, or in this set, I would argue. The fact that you, for 3, are able to discard 1, draw 2 is incredibly powerful. Then not only that, optional additional cost you do cost 1 less. That also stacks if you have multiple Ezreals. There was a game again with Savishade where he went and played out his Thousand Tail Watcher, or no, he played out something, I think it was the Thousand Tail Watcher, and accelerated it out. He had 2 Ezreals out. Yeah, he did. It was a Thousand Tail with an Ezreal deck. He had 2 Ezreals out, so the acceleration was free. He didn't have to pay 8 in a power, or 1 in a power. Both Ezreals covered it. Not only that, again, it completely breaks Called Shot, because you have a Seal out, you have Ezreal out, and you're like, I draw 2 and look at 4 cards for free. And he just cycles through your deck so much, and it's like, I don't need this card at the beginning of my game. Cool, discard it, draw 2. Not only that, then you're also like with scrap heaps with this, helps trigger that, so you draw 3 on that, and it's like, okay, cool, fine, And Scrap Heap makes it such a good card too, because it really thins your deck, and Ezreal gives you that other option to where you don't have to rely on the battlefields nearly as much as what you had to rely on in set 1. And it's like, okay, cool. So I don't necessarily need to run a Traveling Merchant. I don't necessarily need Zon Warrens. I can get my Ezreal and Scrap Heap will be discarded. I draw 3 and I'm already so far ahead. I'm okay with that power cost. I also have a seal. One of the best plays is when you're going second, you play a seal by floating a rune and then you play out Ezreal and you have a seal in Ezreal. You discard a card, you draw 2 at minimum, and then you can keep on going. And then next turn, odds are you're going to have a called shot in your hand. So you play the seal, you do the Ezreal, and then you draw 2 looking at 4. Then you might have a stacked deck. Then you might have... You get the idea. And so Ezreal just really makes purple such a dynamic color, gets rid of the disgust to give you a lot of different potential, and you can go from there. I gotta say, it's going to be real interesting. We're going to be doing a price prediction video. This is probably the new Kai'Sa. This is the new Dead Bloom. This is the card that's going to be $90 to $100. It might even break a couple of records on that, especially early on with 2 regionals that are coming our way. We'll see. It's going to be scary, though. I'm telling you, though, this guy is going to be the new Kai'Sa. But anyway, guys, that's going to be the video. That is the complete list. The series is over. All the cards that I have said. Now, of course, we ignored the signature cards. Otherwise, again, I think they were going to basically be the top 10. But still, what do you guys think about the list? What would you maybe add or change about this? Would you add maybe Purple Draven? What would you do instead? Let me know down in the comments below. But until next time, guys, have a good one.